If you're looking at gimbal systems, you will most likely have come across Feiyu-Tech, responsible for some of the best gimbals around. And here we have what could be the best action camera gimbal yet, the Feiyu-Tech G5. Using all of their expertise and knowledge from systems before it, the G5, being Feiyu-Tech's latest action camera gimbal system, looks to be an excellent alternative to GoPro's official camera grip. Although the experience with a GoPro isn't quite as seamless, the G5 does have certain advantages. It's compatible with a wide range of action cameras from a variety of manufacturers and has a user replaceable battery to name but a few. Don't expect too much in the box though, with a counterweight and a small accessory box containing a 3000 mAh battery and a couple of USB cables, one for charging and the other for powering a GoPro Hero or a Garmin Verb Ultra 30. Otherwise you get the gimbal itself wrapped in a small carry pouch. That's pretty much it. In comparison to the GoPro Camera Grip or the Remoview S1, the G5 is considerably smaller and lighter, although its metal overall construction makes it feel solid and well built. Metal threads incorporated into the bottom allow for extension poles or tripod mounts to be attached, while the rubberized hand grip also makes it comfortable to hold, with the controls placed just above, convenient and within easy reach. Here we have a multifunction power button that lets you toggle between the gimbal's various tracking modes, a dedicated selfie button that can flip the view around as long as it's held, and a 4-way joystick that you can use to adjust the camera angle, with a single status LED just above. On the opposite side we find a single trigger button too. When it comes to powering the device, a 22650 3000 mAh battery is supplied with the package, which should be good for around 8 hours of usage, and slides neatly into the unscrewable handle, while a rubber flap covers the USB port used for charging without having to remove the battery from the hand grip. Nevertheless, further above are the 3 gimbal motors stabilising the tilt, roll and pan axis. Feiyu-Tech state these run quieter than previous generations, allowing for better audio capture, which we'll put to the test shortly. The lack of any external wires makes for a neat design, while a second USB port hidden beside the tilt motor can be used alongside the included cable to charge a GoPro or a Garmin Verb Ultra 30 while in use. Talking of cameras, the G5 caters for a range of action camera units with a shape and size similar to the GoPro, meaning most standard action cameras will fit fine. Although the GoPro Session, Sony cameras and the original Garmin Verb won't fit due to their differing sizes, the GoPro Hero 3 onwards will be perfectly compatible. Attaching the action camera of choice isn't as simple as it is with the Remoview S1 or Camera Grip though, where the others require you to simply slide your GoPro camera into the mounting frame. With the G5 you'll have to deal with fiddly screws. A black metal frame goes around the camera and is affixed by a pair of screws, with 2 longer screws included in the box for larger cameras. A counterweight is included in the box too, with a second pre-attached, and you'll need to attach these to the gimbal for heavier action cameras, both being used for a GoPro Hero 5 or 6. This is an important step to ensure your camera is as stable as possible and won't start tilting or drifting while in use. Once these are in place, you're ready to get shooting. The whole assembly is IP67 rated, so perfectly safe to use outdoors in the rain or around the pool, but I personally wouldn't submerge it completely, so not really useful for diving as such. Finally, note that you also get a felt pouch for transporting the gimbal, and although a little tight, you can fit the gimbal in with the camera attached. Nevertheless, with the gimbal powered up, using the multifunction button you can toggle between the G5's various modes. A single tap toggles between a locked mode where there's no pan or tilt, and an unlocked mode where panning becomes active. A double tap activates follow mode that also opens up tilt, essentially letting you point the camera at a subject above or below you as well. And a triple tap rotates the camera 180 degrees to face you, while a quadruple tap resets the camera. Hold down the power button to put the gimbal into standby mode, ready to be more quickly reactivated with a single tap later on. It all takes a bit of memorization, and the timing of the multiple button presses can take a little getting used to as well, but it's enough to get the job done and soon becomes second nature. Finally, there's a selfie button which, like a triple tap, rotates the camera around 180 degrees, although let go of the button and the camera rotates instantly back to its home position. A nice little feature that vloggers will find especially useful. All of the G5's modes worked well. The standard locked mode is for when you want the camera pointing directly forwards and it keeps everything as steady as you want. And the unlocked pan mode can let you get some fantastic sweeping shots. The follow mode also worked smoothly with very little delay in the camera adjusting its angle to your movements. Any walking footage is also smoothed out completely, all rather impressive. Using the G5 inverted, by which I mean held upside down for low angle shots, simply requires you to rotate the grip as if you were adjusting the hands on a clock, while keeping the camera pointed forwards. This allows for some nice low level shots, great for mixing into your video projects. What really sets the G5 apart from the Remoview S1 is how quiet the gimbal motor is in operation. Feiyu-Tech recommends you put the GoPro into wind reduction mode, which leaves you with very little motor noise at all. This made it nowhere near as distracting as the Remoview S1, and also a bit better than the GoPro Karma Grip as well. That's a pretty big advantage in the G5's favour. Compared to the Karma Grip or the S1, the G5 is a little more difficult to mount for use that isn't handheld. It is possible thanks to those two threads, but the G5 isn't really set up for mounting out of the box, more for handheld use. So you'll need to get creative when attempting to mount the gimbal to other objects or to your person. With Bluetooth connectivity, we're also able to connect the gimbal to a smartphone app. And you may be wondering why the heck you'd want a smartphone app for a handheld gimbal anyway, and quite frankly you probably don't. It can be used to remotely control the joystick and reorientate the camera, which would be useful if the gimbal is mounted to an object, I guess. You can also change some more advanced settings, but in all honesty it's not something that would probably be used very often, other than to update gimbal firmware remotely if need be, so not something most would use very often if at all. The Feiyu-Tech G5 is otherwise a fantastic action camera gimbal system, and at a price that undercuts its rivals. It's easy to use once you memorize the button combinations, that is, the stabilisation is fantastic, and the battery life is just as great. The versatility to hold all kinds of similar sized and shaped cameras is an added bonus. My only frustration with the unit was when used with the Hero 5 or 6. Although there's quick access to the power port for charging, there's no access to the camera's power button to switch the unit on or off. So you'll need to ensure quick capture is enabled on the camera or mount the whole thing upside down. That issue aside, when it comes down to it, Feiyu-Tech have delivered yet another little gem. Other minor frustrations, such as the ridiculously small travel pouch, can't undermine what is ultimately an excellent gimbal that comes well recommended.